Hi guys, and welcome to podcast number 5 of The Protection Gap. Today is all about mortgage advisors passing their leads to protection advisors. And I'm going to be giving you some great actionable tips to make this process much easier. In an ideal world, in my opinion, the mortgage advisor should also be the one giving the protection advice, because the mortgage advisor is the hero of the customer's journey. They're the ones that find the mortgage, answer all the questions, get them a dip, submit the mortgage, get the offer, etc. So if they were any good at protection, it would be perfect if they could give the advice, because they're just capitalizing on the trust they've already established. But of course, as we all know, sometimes that just doesn't work, because either the mortgage advisor doesn't like protection, or they're a mortgage only advisor, or they're just not very good at it and would rather pass it to someone else. So here we are in this situation where this arrangement, mortgage advisor passing to protection advisor, is becoming far more desirable for certain firms. If that is the scenario, let's work on ways we can improve it. In my experience as a protection coach, observing firms and coaching firms with this setup, there are two main areas that cause the biggest problems. The first area is the mortgage advisor and the protection advisor are treated as two separate entities. So the mortgage advisor does his job, gets the mortgage. As I said before, they are the hero of the customer journey. They'll do everything that advisor says, because the advisor is going to get them the only thing they really want, the mortgage. Then the protection advisor is seen as almost a second-class citizen, just some bloke the customer doesn't know who's going to try and speak to them afterwards and flog some insurance. That is not a great dynamic. So today I'll show you how to make that much better. The second big problem is that the mortgage advisors, by the definition that they are not very good at protection, because as I said in previous videos, if they were any good at protection, well, they'd be doing protection and making far more money from it. So either because they've never been a protection advisor, or because they just didn't like it or weren't very good at it, the mortgage advisor is just doing their job, getting a mortgage. This means that they're missing massive opportunities to help their protection colleague. So that's the second part of today's podcast. I'll be showing you how to make that far better. Okay, firstly, turning these two separate advisors into one cohesive team in the customer's minds and in their own minds. What you've got to do is make the customer understand that this is a two advisor process. You can even put it in a positive light. Mr. Customer, most firms actually charge you for one expert, but what we do here is give you two professional experts dedicated to your process at no extra cost. Suddenly, we're making the two advisor setup an actual advantage, not a disadvantage. Next up, when you're talking to the customer and rapport building, when you know it's going to go somewhere, you need to position the two-part process and your protection colleague at the start. Not halfway through, not at offer, not at submission, the start. And say something like this to make that happen. Right, Mr. Customer, let me tell you a bit more about our process and what we're going to go through with you over the coming weeks. Now, firstly, our advice comes in two separate but equally important halves. Today is all about the first half, finding you the right mortgage, and I will be taking care of all of that for you. But once we've done this, I will then pass you over to our protection expert, Lisa, and she will take care of the second important half, which is making sure you've got the right protection to run alongside it. So straight off the bat, we've turned it from a mortgage interview and then an attempt to flog insurance into two halves of the same process. And guess what? We've just mentioned the protection expert Lisa before we've got anywhere near a fact find. Secondly, all mortgage advisors will update their customers via either email or WhatsApp. Now, instead of just using your own email or your own WhatsApp, when you do email a customer, copy in the protection advisor to every correspondence with that customer. Just briefly introduce them. I've just copied Lisa in on this first email, so she's aware with the process and knows when to step in and start helping us both. If it's a WhatsApp group, just set up a group. Mortgage advisor, protection advisor, and customers. That way the customers start seeing Lisa's name either by email and WhatsApp all the time. Now, at this point, the protection advisor can also chime in. Just a quick message, either by email or WhatsApp, saying, "Hi, Lisa here, just introducing myself, and I understand that you're applying for a mortgage with us. Just want to wish you good luck with the house hunting process, and I'm looking forward to working with you in the near future." Just like that, Lisa has now been mentioned again, and she's had a chance to introduce herself in a very soft, non-salesy way. She's also copied in on every correspondence with the customer. They're seeing her name all the time. Now, when it comes to actually meeting Lisa for the protection advice, she's not a stranger. She's been there from the outset, just the same as the mortgage advisor. This is a game changer, and it's so easy to do. Thirdly, if the customers throw in excuses or questions about protection to you, the mortgage advisor, for example, "I don't think we need cover, I got good stuff with work," or "We got cover with our last mortgage, we're just going to use that, I think." Anything like that, all you're going to do is say, "Fantastic news. Let me take the details and I'll pass those on to Lisa. She's the expert here. She'll take care of that information in her appointment." One, the mortgage advisor, who isn't an expert at protection, didn't get drawn into some long, protracted discussion about the importance of insurance with the customer. Two, you just asked to obtain the information. And three, you just mentioned Lisa again and again and again. And you mentioned that there's definitely going to be a protection appointment. Super relaxed, super easy, and very non-confrontational. So there's three ways to turn it from a mortgage advisor working separately with a protection advisor to a team working for the customer. Lisa is being mentioned continuously, and so is the protection appointment. And now on to the second big problem. That's where the mortgage advisor just does their job and gets the information required to submit a mortgage. Then the handover to the protection advisor is often haphazard. It hasn't been set up properly, and you're leaving the protection advisor with a massive problem on their hands. So during the fact-find stage, the customers will tell you everything because you haven't submitted the mortgage. Now, in order to make our protection advisor's job much easier, we need to find out extra details on the fact find. Details that we don't necessarily need to submit a mortgage, but we bloody do need them for the protection advice. Existing work-related benefits, sick pay, death in service. They might have kick policy that they can pay through their salary deductions. Just writing that down is no good for Lisa at all. What does it mean? You have to find out accurate information. So if a customer's guessing at the existing sick pay, or they go, "Well, it's Greg's, I think it's 2 years sick pay." Well, we know that's not true. So you have to stick to your guns. Just say to the customer, "Could you get me accurate information, please? Because I can't submit the mortgage until I have that information." Now, think of these details that we need for protection to be just as important as photo ID, 3 months bank slips, and 3 months pay slips. Would you submit the mortgage if someone hadn't given you photo ID or had a pay slip missing? No, you wouldn't. You tell the customer, "I can't submit the mortgage until I have this information." It's the same with protection, because if you're referring them to the protection advisor and you haven't got this information, if they don't know what they've got, how the hell can they tell them what they need? So it's doomed from the start if you don't get this information. Stick to your guns, insist they get you the information, and they will get it to you because you haven't given them the only thing they wanted, the mortgage. Finally, when you're ready to submit the mortgage, don't just submit it and then send an email to the protection advisor saying, "All done, over to you now." It's a team effort. So when you're ready to submit the mortgage, you tell the customer, "Look, let's get you back in tomorrow. So we'll just double check the details, then we're ready to submit the mortgage. And then what I'll do is pass you over to Lisa at the same time, and then she'll take care of the second important half, which is making sure that this is protected. You'll always have a home and you'll always be safe." Then, of course, they're going to turn up for the mortgage submission. Who's not going to turn up for that? You submit the mortgage, introduce Lisa, ideally by Teams or Zoom, and then she takes care of the second half. That way, the two of you worked in harmony to get the customer the mortgage they needed, but also made sure that whatever happens, they'll never lose their home and they'll always be protected. If you as a team start applying all those little techniques straight away, because they're not difficult, you watch the difference it'll make to your protection sales. Good luck, and let me know how you get on.